So, with speculation, running rampant, and more so than anything, pointing to the not, if or not if, but when, perspective of of Shane McMahon debuting in AEW, potentially as part of this whole BCC NWO like storyline. You know, the one question everybody's going to be wondering is what's going to be the next step after he debuts, or how is his debut going to get people to tune in on a weekly basis to Dynamite, especially going into this new era with this new media rights deal. You know, like basically what impact is he going to have upon his arrival? And I think honestly, what they need to do, in my opinion, is they need to give Shane McMahon a live mic. That's what they need to do. They need to plan this out to where they inform Tony about what's going to happen. Let him know that Shane's going to say things that fans have, had on their mind, mostly a lot of critical stuff. And, we're going to want you to basically go with the flow, kind of act natural, maybe show a little personality. And to me, what they would need to do if that's the case, if they do that, and I think they should, is they need to practice with Tony. Have Tony kind of work with somebody like a Christopher Daniels or a Jerry Lynn or a Jeff Jarrett and practice how, he would react to them calling him out for all the stuff that, fans have criticized AEW for that's hurting AEW, not just, on camera rise, but behind the scenes. So have somebody, in my opinion, practice with Tony on that so that when that moment comes, in which I believe it should be a moment they do, to make Shane McMahon's eventual debut, more impactful and get people talking, I think, again, people need to do that with Tony if they go that route. And again, like I said, I think they should, because you need somebody of notable stature, and Shane McMahon is of that notable stature, that's been in the business, his family's been in the business for so long, that could call out all the crap that's going on, not just, on camera, but behind the scenes internally. You could have him, go as far as to say, hey, turn the lights on, turn all the lights on in the arena when he's, doing this, I guess you could say this work shoot, pipe bomb, whatever you want to call it. Have him lift up all the lights and show the abysmal attendance in the arena, in an arena that should be fitting in seating more than just 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 fans. Have him do that so that the whole world, in story, but legitimately, the whole world can see that, yeah, Tony Khan, storyline-wise and legitimately, isn't really fit to be leading this company right now, because even though he's been doing it for 5 years, he's still at heart a wrestling fan that doesn't understand it takes more than just wrestling to make a good product. I think, they should have Shane do something like that. I think they should call him out on the fact that there's a whole roster here that you're not utilizing. You got a brand, a dead brand, have him call it out like that, or have him say, you got a brand that you turned into basically your developmental brand in Ring of Honor that's not on television, and people look at it as pretty much being dead and worthless, so why do you have it? Have him call out all the criticisms, people like me, people like JD, people like Just Alex, OTRS Central, Solomonster, Dave Meltzer, believe it or not, Brian Alvarez, Sean Ross Sapp, Greg Morgan, everybody, Jim Cornette, you name it. Anybody that's been critical, Eric Bischoff, if you will, anybody that's been critical about, the abysmal state that AEW's in, despite some of the positives they, have been getting, like the media rights deal, have him do that upon his debut. Don't hide it anymore. If you're going to prove that, hey, you are still the true alternative to his family's company or the company his family founded, then prove it by making this known to the public, and then use that as a stepping stone or visual example of, taking it, going in the right direction and fixing all that. That's what I think they need to do with Shane McMahon. They need to have him maybe alongside the BCC, NWO, whatever you want to call them, in the ring, surrounded by the roster, with Tony Khan out there as well, in the ring with him, have him do all that. Have him lift the lights and show the abysmal attendance at the venue that they're at. Have him call Tony out for that and say, until you can build up favoritism with the fans, don't book these arenas anymore. Book smaller venues. Heck, have him, use Tony Khan's recent booking of the Esports Stadium in Arlington as a good example by saying that's the kind of venue you should be going to for right now because you're not at that level you used to be. Have him do stuff like that. Again, have him call Tony out for the usage of Ring of Honor and how practically a lot of people see it as a worthless and dead brand, if not his equivalent to NXT, which is still viewed, even though they're on the CW now, as WWE's developmental. Have him call Tony Khan out for that. Have him call him out for the fact that he's signing all these talents, but he's not doing anything really worthwhile with them. So why bother, signing them, or why bother keeping them if they don't want to be there? Have him list off people like Miro. Have him list off the Lucha Brothers. Heck, have him list off, Ricochet, if you will, who is a great talented wrestler, and a lot of people say found his footing somewhat at Wrestle Dream in that three-way dance. But have him point out Ricochet, saying that Ricochet was happy, when he debuted at, All In London, but with the exception of Wrestle Dream, feels like he's, realizing he's made a mistake. So why keep him? Let him go. Let the Luchas go. Let Miro go. Let those that feel they're not being given the opportunity you promised them you would give them, let them out of the contracts. Let them go explore opportunities elsewhere, even if it's with the company my family founded. Let them do that. Don't hold them back because you're afraid that if they go to the company my family founded, that my brother-in-law will probably book them and utilize them better than you are. Have Shane McMahon do stuff like that. Have him call him out. Have him call Tony Khan out for that. And then maybe have, the roster look around, maybe pan the camera around the roster if you have him at ringside and have him, kind of realize like, hey, Shane McMahon has a point. Tony Khan signed us, but he's not doing anything with us. So why are we here? Have him call Tony Khan out for spending a lot of money on Mercedes Moné and Okada when they have yet to truly prove themselves that they still are what they were beforehand. Have him call him out for that. Have him call him out for, signing Okada to this massive contract, and yet Okada hasn't proven that he is the true rainmaker he was in New Japan. Or have him call him out for signing Mercedes to a huge contract, saying that Mercedes has yet to prove that she was the boss she was. Have him say that. Have him call that out. Say she's not the boss. Have her, basically have him call Tony Khan out for saying she has yet to prove that she is the boss she once was. Heck, have him call him out for Swerve Strickland, signing a new contract, saying, yeah, the guy has proven himself and everything, even as world champion, but he has yet to truly prove himself. So why sign him into a contract, especially if my brother-in-law, and again, have him reference that, not by name, but, by what he is, because you're afraid he would treat him better. Heck, have him call out FTR. Have him call out FTR and their behavior online and basically call them out by saying that the only reason Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler are acting the way they are is because they don't want to admit that they too are unhappy here, but they don't want to go back to the company my family founded because they probably still believe they'd be treated very similar to when my father ran that place, which, by the way, he doesn't anymore. Things like that. Things like that. That is what you need Shane McMahon, or should have Shane McMahon do on his first night in All Elite Wrestling. Have him call out Tony Khan. Have him call him out for everything that I've mentioned, all the criticism. Have him bring the lights up and show the abysmal attendance in this huge arena and call him out for not doing what his family did, the company that his family founded did recently, and relocate, to a smaller venue that can sell out or have a decent crowd. Have him call him out for that. Have him call him out for the, roster, members of the roster that are not happy or thought they would be happy, but now it seems like they're not, except for certain times on pay-per-view or on certain matches. Basically have him call him out for all the criticisms people are saying online. That way, publicly, if, again, AEW wants to prove they are the true alternative still, that will get people talking, because AEW, in front of the world, through Shane McMahon, with Tony Khan in the middle of the ring with him, would have basically admitted to all the faults and all the mistakes they've made, with this work shoot pipe bomb promo. And thus, by doing this, you could use this moment as a catalyst, as a stepping stone to softly reboot and refix everything that's been damaged and get back to being the AEW fans fell in love with 5 years ago. Heck, you can even have them call them out for the whole CM Punk Young Bucks situation and basically tell them that putting the Young Bucks as EVPs was a mistake, because obviously they're using the power to avoid a confrontation with Phil Brooks, because they knew Phil Brooks was calling them out on the BS. Have them do that too. And again, if AEW wants to prove that they are still the true alternative 5 years later, again, this kind of a moment, with Shane calling them out for all this, would be, that moment that basically gets people talking again and wanting to tune in to see what's next on AEW. But that's just my opinion of what I think Shane should do, or what they should have Shane do on his first night in All Elite Wrestling. But what are your guys' take? Let me know, and I'm out.